One of the most common challenges for beginners and drawing students is often feeling pressured that things have to be perfect or that they can't make mistakes. Now, though we all go through it, it's good to have exercises or strategies that helps you to break the tension or to alleviate the pressure from feeling this way. And in this video, I'm going to share a fun way of drawing that I often use to do just that. And as usual, a big thank you to everyone who supported my books, Pen and Drawing, A Simple Guide, and the complimentary Pen and Drawing workbook. Thanks so much. I will be giving an update on the third book that I'm working on. You'll be really excited about that. So stay tuned. In the literary arts, when writers have writer's block or have struggles with overthinking or anxiety or perfectionism, they often use free writing. It's a kind of writing technique or exercise where you get thoughts down quickly and continuously without worrying about grammar, spelling, punctuation, writing conventions, and so on. Just letting your writing flow with little to no concern for proper technique. Well, in drawing, we can also practice a kind of free drawing, if you will, or more like a free form drawing. So for me, it's drawing in a loose, gestural, playful way. It's kind of like blind contour drawing. Only with blind contour drawing, you don't look down at the paper or lift your hand as you draw. But with this kind of free form drawing, you can do both. You can look down at the paper, you can look at the subject, you can pause. But the goal is that you draw continuously and at a pace faster than you normally draw. For me, there are two key aspects to this. It's mental and mechanical, right? So mentally, you need to you need a playful, relaxed kind of attitude, right? Because attitude affects how we do everything, all right? We're more relaxed when we're expecting to have fun, all right? With little care given for exact proportions, precise details, or strict technique. And mechanically, it's important to have a relaxed grip, and use light pressure. So your hand moves in a really fluid, smooth, and it also glides effortlessly. All right. And it's okay to even let your lines, wander off course. It's okay. They're supposed to. Now, you can use this kind of drawing for any subject. All right. I usually do it with ink, especially because the marks are permanent and you can't erase or go back. You just have to embrace your lines as they are with all their imperfections. And that makes it so liberating. I love it. And I'm using a Tombow softer brush pen to make these studies. I usually like using brush pens when I do drawings like this because I can vary the line weight and create thick lines, thin lines, and they tend to glide more freely on the paper than if I'm using like a technical drawing pen or even a ballpoint pen. I like being able to create really bold strokes or filling areas if I need to. It's essentially sketching with a gestural, loose, or almost erratic line. It's a lot of energy, and you can see that there's little redrawing. Once a mark is made, I continue it, and I just move on. There's no redrawing. I'm not going over to restate any contours or anything like that. I leave it as is, and that's the really fun part about it. Like you don't have to be obsessed with, oh my God, that I didn't get that line right. Oh man, I didn't get that contour right. Man, the head the tail is too long. The body is too. No, you just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. So that's the part that's really liberating. You're not obsessed with any mistakes, any missteps, any omissions, anything you think you got wrong or you didn't get right. You just keep going. And if you notice, I'm also using very little finger movement. It's all in the arm. So it keeps the flow very gestural and very fluid. And notice, even in this figure study here, something I had mentioned before, it's important to draw at a pace faster than you normally draw. And that's because it forces you to be gestural. It forces you to stop from overthinking, especially if you're a perfectionist, when you want to get things right. Drawing at a pace that's faster than you're used to pushes you to the point where you have to just go with the flow. And you just hope for the best. It's really fun. And this is quite contrary to what I normally advise about not rushing. This is where you can do just that. You're not concerned with focusing on form so much, where you can be fixated on structure and details and proper rendering and so on. Here you're just flowing, you're just going. So creating like that swirl of the dress was really just using within, because right now I'm drawing in real time. So the pace that I'm going at right now is actually, is not sped up in any way. I'm not time lapsing. This is just real time. So I'm drawing fast enough to not allow myself to be too comfortable, and I'm not drawing too fast where I'm losing, all control. I have to have a nice balance, and I think that's something that comes with experimentation. You'll find you have to speed up your drawing, but not speed it up too much, and you're not drawing too slow either. You don't want to have complete control. You want to sacrifice some of that, because the gestural strokes, the beautiful flow of the ink or your drawing instrument comes with moving at a pace faster than you're used to. And by drawing at this faster pace, what happens is you kind of move into this space, in which I usually mention in other videos about embracing the abstract. By drawing faster, you tend to go into this space where some of your lines will not make sense. Things will sometimes just not look like what you're drawing. And it's okay to embrace that. And I know, traditionally I'm more realistic in my drawings. They're more representational. So it's not as easy to grasp that concept of embracing the abstract, because you're like, well, I see you drawing a face, you're drawing a hand, you're drawing a skull, you're drawing a person. I see what you're drawing. But the idea is not in the subject matter, but in the process, and sometimes with the lines. Being able to accept that sometimes lines can represent a particular thing. You can see it, recognize a subject. You can see what I'm drawing. But the means sometimes, the elements itself. It's like I am more concerned with the lines themselves, the expressiveness of the lines, the aesthetic qualities of the lines, the energies of the lines, than with the subject that they're being used to depict. And that's a part of the fun of this way of drawing, where the lines themselves can become the subject matter or compete with the actual recognizable subject matter. The lines themselves are a subject of the drawing. And it's a lot of fun to do this. And even in this study of a Pontormo drawing, I'm having some fun with just playing around with anatomy. So it's almost like I am playing this game of connecting the dots and finding anatomical landmarks. So it can be a very non-intimidating way of exploring anatomy and structure. So there's no, especially with anatomy being such a rigid kind of a subject that generally encourages or suggests or fosters tight drawing. Here I'm being very loose, but I'm still playing with anatomy, jotting down my marks from anatomical landmark to another anatomical landmark. So you can see I'm varying the subject matter, going from, like a figure to a portrait, plants or rocks, landscape. So you can see that, there's a continuous flow, even though you're dealing with different subject matter. So going from the human figure to this little really fun landscape study to show that, this way of drawing is just about flow. It's just about, allowing yourself to just let the point just glide. And that's why it's important to have very, not a loose and not firm, just a gentle grip on the pen to allow it to just move easily and use more arm movements. And something I do deliberately is, if I know with portrait drawings, I like starting with the eyes, or if I have a predictable way of proceeding through a drawing, I generally try to do the opposite of that sometimes with this, because I want it to not be about being in control or thinking, or I want it to be about the flow. So I'll deliberately start a figure like with the Pantorma study I did. I started with the hand or the arm. I will start at the opposite of where I normally start, or go in a different direction than I normally do, and that helps to throw off like that logical, analytical side of the brain from thinking in that comfortable way. I want to throw off my way of normal thinking to loosen up a bit. And so if you have a certain way of drawing, or there's a certain process you like to follow, try to throw that off by doing something you're normally really uncomfortable with, or starting in a direction you normally would end, or end in a direction you normally start, and so on. Do little things to kind of throw off that, break yourself out of that comfort zone. And you can see, you can apply this with any kind of subject. That's the really cool thing about it. So even with geometric forms, I'm just drawing fruits. And you get to, I feel like it's really important to appreciate the abstract. But I know it's a challenging concept to grasp when you're dealing with representational subjects or representational art. So, with recognizable art, it's not as immediately apparent how to embrace the abstract, but it's understanding. It helps you to learn to see, not in a realistic way, even when you're making your realistic, you're dealing with realistic subject matter. So you learn how to just appreciate the beauty of just scribbles, just for scribbles' sake. Not caring much of what they represent, whether it's with a bird or hands or oranges or the human figure or a portrait. There will be aspects of abstract subject matter that suggests itself, and it's okay to play with that. Now, once you get a hang of it, you will soon find yourself filling pages upon pages of your sketchbooks. You can do it to warm up, to relax, to overcome artist block, reduce anxieties, overcome fears. It's just a light, fun, loose, and playful way to get yourself drawing. And I'm sure you can see that I had lots of fun doing this. And just like I shared, I've used this to warm up, to relax, to overcome artist block, reduce tightness, release tightness, overcome fears, try out new methods, or it's just a light and really fun way to just get drawing, to just get pen to paper and get moving. And the more you do it, the more you'll get better at it. And not get better as in your drawings will necessarily be more realistic or more refined. No, you'll learn to trust yourself more. And that's a big part of it. Having fun is relaxing. And when you're relaxed, you tend to be able to let certain parts of yourself that's restricted to come to the forefront. And that's the key thing with this exercise. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Remember to give this video a like and share it with who you think would enjoy it or find it useful in some way. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.